If you have the world's largest nuclear arsenal, you might think your biggest enemy is NATO or the US. But you're wrong. Russia's biggest enemy is a clear liquid with 40% alcohol. In 2024, the life expectancy of a Russian man is lower than many non-war African countries. Why? Because the Kremlin has been waging a silent biological war against its own people for centuries. This is not an accident, it is a system. The data doesn't lie. In the first 10 months of 2024, 1.84 billion liters of alcohol were consumed in Russia. This means every Russian citizen, including babies, is filling a massive pool. More terrifyingly, 1 in 4 male deaths in Russia is directly caused by alcohol. According to World Bank data, Russia loses 3% of its GDP annually due to alcohol-related productivity loss. This is equivalent to half the money spent on its military. Analysis begins. Why would a state let its people die? Answer: obedience. From Ivan III to Putin, the Russian leadership used this equation. Drunken people do not rebel. Alcohol is a double-edged sword for the Russian state. On one hand, a massive tax revenue providing 2% of the budget. On the other, an anesthesia that depoliticizes the public. If the people were sober, they would ask why their pensions are spent on nuclear missiles. But vodka silences these questions. This is Russia's sovereign addiction model. The state acts like a drug cartel. It both sells and manages the addiction. But today, this model is cracking. The war in Ukraine forced an increase in the dose of this anesthesia. Soldiers are sent to the front drunk because a sober mind cannot handle the horror in those trenches. This destroys military discipline. What does this crisis mean for regional partners like India or China? Russia's demographic collapse creates a massive power vacuum in Central Asia. As the working-age population melts away with alcohol, Russia cannot sustain its factories and defense industry. This will increase Russia's dependence on China and permanently change Eurasian balances. For India, this means the destabilization of its defense supplier. Perhaps the most terrifying analysis lies in nuclear facilities, who guard more than 5,800 nuclear warheads. Alcoholism strikes not only the rural areas but also military personnel. Having undisciplined and addicted personnel working in nuclear facilities keeps a global Chernobyl risk on the table every day. This means a nation is setting not just itself, but the whole world on fire with a crisis of drunkenness. 1. Optimistic, radical health reform and ban on alcohol monopoly post-Putin. 2. Pessimistic, population dropping below 100 million and state bankruptcy as the Russian cross deepens. 3. Neutral, Russia becoming China's alcoholic raw material depot through slow decay.